We will go on the record in the matter 25 CF22, State of Wisconsin versus Michael Den. The state appears through District Attorney Kevin Schmidt in person. Mr. Den appears in person in custody with counsel Glenn Keene. We're set today in this matter for the sentencing portion of this case. Mr. Den pled guilty to count 5, possession with intent, methamphetamine greater than 10 grams, but less than 50 grams, a class D felony with having 4 other counts, manufacturing, delivering amphetamine less than 3 grams, possession with intent, methamphetamine greater than 50 grams, maintaining a drug trafficking place, and possession of drug paraphernalia as dismissed and read in. The court ordered a pre-sentence investigation report. The court has reviewed this report. I have notes, but I do not necessarily see that anything jumped out to me as needing to be changed as materially affecting the information to the court. Mr. Schmidt, did you receive and review the pre-sentence investigation report?
I did. I reviewed it. I have no corrections.
All right. Okay. Mr. Keene, did you go over that report with Mr. Den?
Yes, Your Honor. The only thing I would attempt to correct on page 7, it does talk about that he was revoked twice. I would note that later on that page, it talks about those being, 17 days of revocation. So I'd just point out it's a relatively short revocation versus revoke, go to prison. But other than that,
okay.
Nothing that we won't explain when we get to it.
All right. Thank you. And Mr. Keene, when I walked into the courtroom, I believe it is Mr. Den's daughter that was sitting up there and she had papers. Is she going to be providing a character statement today?
Your Honor, she provided a letter. She may end up making up her mind if she wishes to speak at the time, because I know she said it's hard for her.
All right. Well, then she has to make up her mind now, because I usually have the character references, witnesses, as well as the victims make their statement first to allow both counsel the opportunity to provide input or respond if there was something that needed to be addressed.
Okay. Do you want to talk or do you want to just use your letter?
All right.
Okay.
So you can come up here and have a seat at that black table over there. And you can state your full name if you wish, or I don't care if you want to use initials, that's fine too. If you're going to read your letter, which is totally appropriate and fine, please read it slowly so that the court reporter can take everything down. And I know that this is probably an emotional process for you, seeing your dad this way. So if you are affected by emotion, just take time, take some breath, and then go on, okay?
So state my name first.
Yes.
Jamie Den.
Okay, and it's Jamie, J-A-I-M-E.
J-A-M-I-E.
J-A-M, oh, so just the normal spelling, J.
Yep.
Okay, all right. You may begin.
My name is Jamie Den. I am the daughter of Michael Den. I'm writing to you regarding the sentence of my father. I have a daughter who is 14 and a son who is 9. They haven't had a father figure but my father to look up to. My kids haven't listened to me ever, but they do listen to him. 2 years ago, I had a lot of problems with my son, where he was kicked out of summer school and off the bus. After spending all summer with him, he was a totally different kid that listens in school. I have had the privilege of growing up under my father's guidance and support, and I have witnessed firsthand the positive impact he has had on our family and community. My father has always been a source of strength and inspiration for me, and his dedication to our well-being has shaped me into the person I am today. I understand the seriousness of the situation, and I want to share some insights into my father's character and the positive impact he has had on our family and community. Michael Den has always been there for me or anyone that has ever asked, no matter what. Anyone that has ever asked anything from him, he has always gone out of his way to help with whatever they needed. Like an elderly woman, that husband left and went to another state, didn't have food or running water. My father went out of his way to get her water and bring her to town to make sure she had everything she needed. Even got a vehicle running for her so she had transport to go to town. Last winter, our neighbor would have froze to death because he got sick and couldn't cut wood to put in his wood stove. He ended up calling my father and asking for help. Not only did my father bring him wood, but he split it and stacked it, so the guy didn't have to do anything. Every morning, my father would go there and fill it up for him. I am sure your mind is already made up, but I have lived with my mother my whole life. When I was around my father, all he ever did was work. I hated the fact that he never did anything fun. It was always work. My older brother, for example, all he does is work too. He is getting old and his grandchildren need him. Not only for grandpa, but to be on the sidelines for their sport events, cheering them on. Thank you for taking the time to hear my letter and consider my opinion. I hope that my words will help you in making a fair and just decision.
Thank you, Ms. Den. And so you can understand, I don't make a decision. I need to hear from both of the attorneys, and I need to hear from Mr. Den and character references, as well as any victims if there are any involved. So I'm just letting you know that ahead of time. All right, argument and sentencing recommendation, Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to be arguing for the upper end of what DOC quoted in this one, which is 15 years initial confinement, 5 years extended supervision. I think that this is the correct sentence. I think the main purposes of sentencing the court should be looking at today should be incapacitation, specific deterrence, and protection of the community. I think this is the sentence that does not unduly depreciate the seriousness of the offense and is proportional to the sentences he's gotten in the past for similar behavior in the criminal history. This is a case where a confidential informant did a controlled buy while being surveilled by Deputy Bailey Mangan. He purchased a small amount of methamphetamine from Mr. Den. You can hear them in the recording do this. Police got a search warrant. While staging for it, Mr. Den pulled into the driveway of the same property. Michael Den was arrested in his vehicle. In the vehicle, they found a large amount of methamphetamine. In another vehicle on the property, they found more large amounts of methamphetamine. To give you an idea of the property, it's kind of a property that's got a lot of like junk on it, which is why they search things other than just the building. There are a lot of other places to search. While in custody, Mr. Den was interviewed by police. He said that the source of his drugs is the cities, and more particular, it's a cartel connection. He said he has someone he can contact who would tell him where to go in the cities to buy drugs. He said he buys meth kilograms at a time and splits it with other people to go sell in other places. Kilogram is 1,000 grams. He said this happened every few months. The PSI indicates that Mr. Den has 9 prior convictions. They run the gambit from defying no contact orders to receiving stolen property to drug offenses to fighting with the police, actually. Most relevant to this, and what I want the court to pay the most attention to, would be on page 9 of the PSI, where Mr. Den described his 2000 Waseca conviction involving him conspiring to import controlled substances. That's the one that sent him to prison for 10 years back in 2000. He said that in that case, he had a connection from California who would take it to the cities and he'd acquire it and break it up with other people to do with what they want. He said he'd do it every 4 months or so. He said, I wasn't dealing, but I didn't really know what they were doing, not my problem.
All right, let's talk about that. The sentencing hearing in State of Wisconsin versus Michael Den was a measured but weighty proceeding, with Judge Mogen balancing the formalities of the law against the deeply personal testimony that came before her. Den, in custody and represented by attorney Glenn Keene, had already pleaded guilty to possession with intent to deliver methamphetamine more than 10 grams but less than 50. 4 other counts, including manufacturing, maintaining a trafficking place, and possession of paraphernalia, were dismissed and read in. The court had the benefit of a pre-sentence investigation report, which both sides reviewed with only one minor clarification from Keene about the relatively short prior revocation periods. Before the lawyers made their arguments, the court heard from Den's daughter, Jamie. She read a letter that was heartfelt and specific, focusing not on excuses but on the day-to-day good she's seen her father do. Her stories painted a picture of a man who, despite his legal troubles, has been a steady and generous presence, helping neighbors without heat, repairing vehicles for those in need, and mentoring her own children. She acknowledged the seriousness of the situation, but asked the court to consider his value to family and community. It was emotional without being overly dramatic, and Judge Mogen allowed her to take her time and compose herself, ensuring the court reporter could capture every word. From there, District Attorney Kevin Schmidt's recommendation was direct: 15 years initial confinement, 5 years extended supervision. He framed the sentence around 3 key goals: incapacitation, deterrence, and protection of the community, emphasizing that this was consistent with Den's prior sentences for similar conduct. The state's case was built on a controlled buy, confirmed via audio recording, and a subsequent search that uncovered substantial quantities of methamphetamine in multiple vehicles on Den's property. Schmidt went further, citing Den's own admissions to law enforcement that he purchased kilogram-level quantities from a cartel-linked source in the cities every few months, splitting it with others for resale. He also walked through Den's criminal history: 9 prior convictions, ranging from no-contact violations to receiving stolen property to resisting police. The most striking, Schmidt argued, was a 2000 conviction for conspiring to import controlled substances eerily similar in method to the present case. Judge Mogen's role here was steady and procedural, making sure the emotional testimony, the legal recommendations, and the factual record all had their place before she weighed a final sentence. She clarified for Jamie Den that while her opinion was important, the court still needed to hear from both attorneys, the defendant himself, and any victims. That level of transparency and process is a hallmark of her bench style. No one leaves wondering whether they had a chance to be heard. The courtroom atmosphere was serious but not tense. The DA was focused, the defense was calm, and the personal statement provided a moment of humanity in an otherwise heavily procedural event. By the end, the stage was fully set for Judge Mogen to deliberate on a sentence that would have to balance the severity of the offense, the repeat nature of the conduct, and the mitigating character testimony. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one,